Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's Curtis. Let me tell you what's going on with prices, oil, and the Strait of Hormuz. First thing that probably comes to mind is the crisis out there in the Middle East, right? I mean, think about all the gas prices at the pumps. I mean, I'm sure you all have seen it rising, cost of goods rising. So, in this presentation, I'm going to explain what's happening, why it's happening, and what might happen next. Please help me out. Drop a comment on how you feel about this, what's affecting you out there as far as prices and cost. And I promise to give my best to respond to your comments and questions if you've got any. Okay, just feel free to drop it in there. At this time, give me a like and a subscribe as well. And of course, my goal is always to try to keep it simple, straightforward, and easy for you all to follow, okay? And as a FYI, I just wanted to let you know all of this information comes from real sources like CBS and the World Bank. It's not just going to be filled with my opinion, okay? So let's get right into it. So there's a small strip of water in the Middle East called the Strait of Hormuz. You probably heard of it, right? And it's been shut down. You've probably noticed that gas costs a lot lately, and maybe your parents have said groceries are getting expensive too, right? Maybe you've noticed groceries getting a lot more expensive for yourself and your family. This oil crisis is a big reason why everything costs more right now. That little strip of water has been closed for almost 3 months, and it is certainly messing up the whole world's economy. So, for context, about 20% of the global oil comes from that waterway. So, that's pretty significant. Everything I'm sharing today comes from real sources, again, like the World Bank and CBS. So it's not just my opinion. All this is real data. You can find it and learn more about it if you'd like to see how it impacts your actual daily lives. And I hope that by the end of this, you'll know why gas is so pricey, why groceries cost more, everything's going up in price, and what could possibly happen next. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So the Strait of Hormuz, right? Let me explain it in a simple way. Think of it like a hallway at a school where every student has to walk through to get to class. And if somebody blocks that hallway, nobody gets through. That's practically what's happening right now in the Middle East. The Strait of Hormuz is blocked, and the oil ships can't get in and out to transport oil. A lot of nations are being greatly impacted by this right now, and the absurd thing is that if you think about it, the strip of water is not that, it's not that big. It's 21 miles wide. Normally, about 60 oil ships go through it every day, and it carries about 20% of all the oil in the world passing through just that one tiny spot. So here's a problem because of the conflict between the United States and Iran. This strait has been shut down since February 27th, 2026. That's 80 plus days so far. And you may or may not heard of it, but Iran had put some mines into the water, right? So that they can control who passes in and out. Of course, you may have heard the United States been trying to clear out some of those mines and things like that. But with the negotiations and the talks, there's been a lot of delay of allowing ships to go through. So now the big thing to remember is oil powers everything. And just for some context, if you're not aware, right, a lot of the, like, say, for example, electricity that we use, it's actually, it comes from generators that are generated through usage of oil converting into that power. It's not just for gas or cars. Of course, that's the first thing we think of. But oil is used for a whole lot of different stuff to ship food, to run factories, to heat homes. Uh, and as one of my mentors would say, I mean, it's in a lot of practically all the plastics that we use. So when the oil supply goes down, the price of pretty much everything goes up. Now, let us take a look at the numbers as of May 22nd, 2026. First up, gas prices. Right now, the average price across the country is $4.55 per gallon. Everybody's been complaining about it. I'm sure a lot of trips have been undecided, or maybe they've changed what they've planned to do instead of traveling on the road and things like that, turning it into a different kind of activity or recreation that they can do locally. Gas, that's the most expensive it's been for Memorial Day weekend in 4 years. In California, it's worse. It's even worse. I mean, it's over $6.13 per gallon. Even at Costco, it's extremely expensive, especially if you're pumping diesel or premium. Back in March, gas prices jumped 21.2% in just a single month. That was the biggest 1 month jump in almost 60 years, since 1967. Second, energy prices overall are up 24% this year. The World Bank says that it is the biggest energy price jump since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. They also say things like food, metals, and energy are 16% more expensive than before. Third, the Strait of Hormuz has been closed for 83 days, or 80 plus days, I'm sorry, and only 2% of normal shipping is getting through that strait right now. About 10.5 million barrels of oil per day from that area are just not available any longer to the global economy. That's a huge chunk of the world's energy supply that is just gone. And so if you tie it back to how I mentioned about how oil is used to generate electricity and other energy and things like that, that is exactly why a lot of these countries who depend on this oil are lacking electricity at this moment, lacking energy, and trying their best to conserve the reserves that they're using right now. Now, I want to show you what the news is saying about this crisis. These are real headlines, not my opinions, okay? The World Bank said this war in the Middle East will cause the biggest jump in energy prices in 4 years. They say energy prices will go up 24% and everyday goods will cost 16% more. PBS News talked about how high gas prices and shipping problems are making everything more expensive. I'm sure many of you have felt it already at the gas pumps, buying your groceries, buying your goods from all the different stores out there, Target, Walmart, places you shop at. It's not just oil. Airplanes, jet fuel, shipping, and different areas of energy are all affected. Think about all the prices that have jumped up for plane tickets. It's been nothing short of surprising, shocking, crazy. The International Energy Agency, which tracks the world's energy, says the world will use more oil than it can get this year. The Iran war has cut 3.9 million barrels per day from oil production. That sounds quite a lot. That's the biggest oil supply drop in history. The United Nations warned that 45 million more people around the world could go hungry because of this. This is not just about gas. People could actually starve if shipping lanes do not reopen, right? Keep in mind, gas is used to ship food across the ocean waters,
gases used by big rigs to transport produce, gases used to deliver food to people's homes. So this is drastic. Now, for the big news about peace talks, recently Trump told Iran to accept a deal or face huge military attacks, and it's been happening back and forth. On May 19th, he called off an attack and said serious talks were happening. Pakistan has been helping as a middleman with their army chief, General Munir, going back and forth between the United States and Iran. Pakistan asked both sides to take a break so things would not fall apart. And that's why the United States, we've tried our best to kind of slow things down and delay things in that area as well. Secretary Rubio said, there's a little bit of progress, but no deal yet. And most recent news, apparently they continue to say that they're coming close to some sort of deal. Everything's still pending, unsure right now. So ultimately, right now, the talks could go either way. All right, so this right here is the most important slide because it shows how one thing leads to another. Just like dominoes, right? Domino effect. Dominoes falling. Step 1, the strait closes. Because of the US and Iran conflict, the world's most important oil shipping routes gets blocked. Again, as I mentioned before, there's mines in the waterway, and Iran controls who gets through and not. I mean, if you haven't seen on the news, they've got these little ships with machine guns, and that's how they're trying to control it. Step 2, oil supplies drop. With the strait closed, 3.9 million barrels of oil per day just disappeared. That's like removing 20% of the world's oil all at once. When there's not enough oil, the price goes way up, right? That's basic supply and demand. Energy prices go up is step 3. When oil costs more, everything that uses oil costs more too. Gas, diesel fuel, things we have to use for our vehicles and trucks, and then planes, jet fuel. And then, of course, heating oil all jumps up in price. Energy prices are up 24% this year. And that's, just think about your costs going up 24%. That's major. You were paying $1 for something, now you're paying $1.25. You were paying $100 for something, now you're paying $125 for it. You're paying $1,000 for something, now you're paying $1,250 for something. So that's a major impact. Step 4, everything costs more. This is where it hits you, right? Personally, you. People just like you and I, food has been, going up in cost. It has to be trucked to the stores. The trucks run on diesel fuel. Products are shipped on big cargo ships that run on fuel. Factories that make your clothes and phones, they use energy, they use electricity, right? When energy costs go up, companies charge us all more for everything that we buy. That's because it costs them more money to produce it and get it to us as well. This chain reaction is exactly what's happening right now. Okay, now let's talk about how this oil crisis hits you and your family at home some more. Okay, first, we've all seen it, right? It's at the gas pump. Gas costs $4.55 per gallon right now on average across the country. Here where I'm at in California, it's over $6.13 on average per gallon. Quite a bit. In March, gas prices went up 21.2% in just 1 month. That's the biggest jump since 1967. It's been a long time since 1967, okay? If your family fills up the car once a week, you're spending roughly $30 to $50 more per month than you did last year. I know for me and my family, we have 2 vehicles and we fill up quite a bit. If you think about it, the amount that we're spending on gas comes up to hundreds of extras dollars in a year just on gas alone. Second, think about the grocery store. You might wonder, what does oil have to do with food? The answer is everything. Again, food has to travel from farms to stores, and all that shipping uses fuel, right? I didn't even include it having to go to the factories. So farms to factories to stores, and that just the whole distribution, supply chain, logistics uses tons of fuel. And when fuel costs more, trucks cost more, stores charge you more for groceries. That's just the way it is. Government says prices went up 0.6% in April, and grocery prices will rise another 2.5% this year. The United Nations even warns that 45 million more people could go hungry because of this crisis. And I could certainly see that happening if you think about the cost that it just costs to transport these goods. Third, your bill and your parents' drive to work. Electric bills have been going up since 2021 and are getting worse this year. If your family heats with oil or gas, these bills are climbing too, right? If you drive a long way to work, that fuel cost really adds up. If your family members, your kids, or if you're still living with your parents, if they're driving anywhere, it's going up. It's costly. So ultimately, families with less money gets hit the hardest because they spend a bigger part of what they earn on gas, energy, and food. Let me wrap up with 3 big things to remember. Number 1, the oil supply is in big trouble. The Strait of Hormuz has been closed for close to 100 days now. Energy prices are up 24% this year. About 10.5 million barrels of oil per day are offline. Again, that's the biggest oil disruption ever. And this is a really big deal for the world. A lot of countries are running out of energy. That means, think about it. Here in America, we're very fortunate to be able to turn on our lights, have our refrigerators on, watch our televisions. Other countries that are very dependent on this right now are conserving, and they can't use these privileges. Number 2, every family feels it every day, right? Again, gas, groceries, electric bills, everything's going up. I'm in California. Gas is absurd right now, over $6 a gallon. If you're feeling like money's tighter, right, that you can afford less right now with what you have, if you can afford less with, that dollar, that $10, that $100, this is the exact reason why. Here are some tips, right? Maybe combine car trips, carpool if you can, take a bicycle or put in that extra step and walk if it's not too far, right? Buy groceries in bulk. Costco's real popular. Gas at Costco's cheaper. And try to save energy at home. Turn off that power switch on the surge protector. Unplug the microwave. Number 3, there's a big deal of working on things that can fix this, and they're working on it. So recently, negotiations are still trying to happen, still trying to work on a deal. Of course, Trump has told Iran that they can't have anything to build a nuclear weapon. He wants them to accept that deal or face a big military attack. We've in America have dealt with all the extreme costs and everything like that, and waiting to hear what's going to happen with the negotiations. Pakistan has been trying to be the middleman to help come to some sort of compromise or agreement. As of today, there's little progress, but no deal yet. And if they make a deal and the strait reopens, we'll see what happens with prices, right? If you think about it, the energy crisis has been squeezed, and right now everybody's been using reserves. Once it opens back up and we are able to get oil flowing back through, I'm just curious how this is gonna, what kind of aftershock it's gonna give our economy. It's not gonna drop prices overnight, but hopefully it will gradually. And then, of course, on the flip side, if the talks continue to fail, things will continue to stay expensive, probably even get more expensive with the aftershock that I had just mentioned, and unsure of what may happen in the Middle East with the America and Iran conflict.
All right. So the big takeaway from this is, I mean, oil just isn't only for cars, right? I mean, it powers our entire way of life from all across the globe. I mean, I was just watching the news, and the Philippines have about 45 days left of reserve. I mean, that's big trouble. So obviously, when oil gets messed up, everything gets more expensive. And now you know why. Anyhow, hey, thanks for listening to me. I'm happy to answer any questions if you got any. Again, if you've got it, just drop it into the comments. I'll try my best to respond back to you all. Thanks for doing that. And of course, give me a like and a subscribe. I appreciate you so much. Thanks so much, and make it a great day.